let the world know. World of Israel. Snap your fingers, snap 'em. Snap your fingers, snap 'em. World of Israel. Snap your fingers, snap 'em. Ain't nobody greater, ain't nobody greater. You say that you love him, but you won't even keep his laws to save your life. You say that you need him, but when problems arise, you try to solve it your way. You say that you wanna go back with him. I know that that's a fact, but what is the use when you won't serve him? I advise you to serve the Lord right now. The Most High is the best. Ain't nobody greater. He'll help you through your test. Ain't nobody greater. He's Lord God. Oh yeah. He's his high. Problems knock you down. He won't let you hit the ground. So please just remember this. Ain't nobody greater. You say that there's nothing wrong with breaking God's laws. You say that there's nothing wrong, and nothing bad will happen to you. But don't you know if you don't repent? But don't you know you're gonna die? But don't you know you're gonna die? But don't you know you're gonna die? But don't you know? But if you repent, but don't you know to save your life? But don't you know you're gonna rise? The Most High is the best. Ain't nobody greater. He'll help you through your test. Ain't nobody greater. He's Lord God. Oh yeah. He's his high. When problems knock you down, when it gets hard, so please just remember this. Ain't nobody greater. Sometimes in our lives we will make mistakes, but you gotta pray. He who overcomes will inherit all things. God says, for all have sinned and have fallen short of the glory of God. God searches the heart and he searched the mind. He treats you as you are and not what you pretend to be. The Most High is the best. Ain't nobody greater. You through your test. Ain't nobody greater. He's Lord God. Oh yeah. He's his high. When problems knock you down, he won't let you hit the ground. So please just remember this. Ain't nobody greater. Ain't nobody greater. Ain't nobody greater. This song goes out to the people in the world. They need to hear this song right here. Cause if they don't heed to this warning, I'll hate to be them on Judgment Day. Look at all this evil crime. World is on a decline. The world is about to catch this heat, cause destruction's about to repeat. Instead of living godly lives, people going crazy online. Great post. They got no love but hate. All they wanna do is spread slander all day. So look around the world, many dying every day. Yeah, they knew the way to live, but they didn't live that way. No excuses. And they died all in their sins, without a sacrifice. So won't you send this warning out Do the people still alive?
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't read, won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't repent.
Everybody doing what they wanna do. They don't really care, they don't want the truth. They just wanna play religion like the fool. So divided they can't tell you what they gonna do. Engineers, man, they don't endure the truth. Engineers, they don't got a clue. Paganism, man, it gotta go. Before the Christ comes and you hear these words, depart from me, I never knew you. You who break God's law, and you die all in your sins without a sacrifice. So won't you send this warning out to the people still alive? Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't read, won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't repent.
Hope y'all listening. Yeah, this is life or death. This world is gonna burn in the fire. Yeah, nowhere for you to run in the fire. Yeah, but if you just repent before the Father, believe in Christ who'll save you from the lake of fire.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't read, won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't read, won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
Won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa.
If they don't read, won't you tell them?
Tell them whoa. To their souls.
If they don't read,
Tell them whoa.
Most High, He's calling out to the nations. Peace. Be still. Judah, Gad, Benjamin, Manasseh, Asher, Naphtali, Zebulun, Issachar.
I'm speaking peace over your situation right now.
Dan, Simeon, Ephraim, Reuben. The sea is tossing, evil roaring, waves clashing, times passing, people are lashing. Hear the cries of souls in distress. Trickle of injustice far, it won't rest. Gotta remember, days of old love takes control from evil strongholds. Beast in the sea, birth from racism. Devil don't care about us. Dragon breathe the fire of hateism. Lost souls in the maze of darkness. Evil taking control of the heartless. We must not get distracted from the divine revelation. The teacher generation, to build a holy nation. We are children of the Most High, holy God's precious creation. Most High is calling out to the nation. Say peace, be still.
Keep your head up through the storm. God is able, He is able.
enemy against the God of peace, destined to make war. The sea is in a rage. Beast roar, release the terrorism from its iron cage. The trail of tears, simulation, souls trapped, named, deleted, enslaved for years. CER in accelerator, man's quest to be the creator. The sea is unrest, colors flashing, flags flying. It's very clear to me why the souls are crying. Virus, into the system, these are directories. The root bears evil fruit. Those who have ears, let them hear what the Spirit say. Endure, overcome, I will give you peace that's everlasting. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Revelations 21, the word of the Most High reads, says, Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven like a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. Glory to the Most High. I heard a loud shout from the throne, say, Higher! Glory, glory, glory. Look, the Most High's home is now among his people. He will live with them, and they will be his people. The Most High himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All these are gone forever. Peace, be still.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs. Just glad to be in the land of the living one more time. Man, I tell you, I would have came on earlier, a lot earlier, but you know, I have a guest tonight, and just trying to get everything to set up, it was just a challenge. But I think we're there now, and all of that good stuff. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm just going to do a couple of the house things that I'm trying to do. But that being said, if you all can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up in the chat room if you can hear me okay. Okay, while I'm talking, I'm just going, y'all know I like my little music here. There we go. And I'm trying to get my daughter, she's having a good time back here. So what do y'all think? I mean, okay, you said the music is too loud. Okay, thank you. What do y'all think? I mean, they really are getting rid of, do you think that they should be getting rid of these statues? And what do y'all think? You think they should be getting rid of the statues? Keeping them? What do you think? I'd like to know what you think in the room. Let me know what y'all think. I'm just curious as to what you think about all of that. Do you think that? Thank you so much. I think that's a little bit better. Do you all think that they should be getting rid of the statues up in Washington, D.C.? The Washington, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson. Let me know what y'all think. If you think they ought to take them down, put a 1 in the chat room. If you think they ought to keep them up and don't worry about it, put it on the 2. Brother JD says, get rid of the statues. They don't change a man's heart. You know, this is those that definitely the ones from the Confederates army. Somebody says, Gideon says, get rid of them, take them down. Okay, that seems to be the going trend here. Take them down, get rid of them. All right. I have been really having problems getting the volume together tonight, but we're going to make it happen. Let me just say this. Sister Linda Jones says, yes, take it down. Take it down. That's what everybody seems to say, take it down. I got nobody that says leave it up. Maybe it's just, maybe it's just, how can I put it? It's there, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's just there. It's history. I mean, some people think it's history. What do y'all think? You think it's history? Do you think it's worth keeping up, not keeping up? Let me know what you think. I am really curious as to what you all really think about that. So let me know. Because some people feel like that, there we go. I was way up to, there we go. Okay. So I'm just curious to what you all think. It's a racist whole, though, where to stop. You got a lot of history that's been around for a while. And I don't know. I never go to D.C. I can't say that it makes a difference one way or the other. And so that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. I really don't know if we should keep them, take them up, take them down. Coach says JD is right. It wouldn't make a difference. It would not change a man's heart. Okay, all right. I think some of y'all feel like it's an issue we shouldn't even touch. So the other night we had Brother So Real on the show, and Brother So Real, I appreciate the brother coming on, I really do. And he came on the show. Okay, hold on. There we go. That's better. He came on the show, and when he came on the show, we had a pretty good time. I don't know what y'all think. Let me know what you think about. I think my guest. I can hear my guest. Are you there, Brother Ed?
Yes.
Okay, you got some music on in the background?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Brother Ed is here. I don't know where that extra noise is coming from. I just don't know where it's coming from. Okay. I'm picking up something somewhere. So tonight, let me talk about the other night, Brother Surreal. Brother Surreal came on. I'm going to talk about that later on in our show tonight. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm going to talk about it later on in the show. So thank you, brother JD. We're gonna talk about that later on in the show, but not right now. We're definitely gonna talk about it though. There's some things we're gonna bring up about it, and I'm gonna give you my assessment of what happened and stuff like that. Faith and Hope says if they didn't mean something to them, they would not have put them up as a constant reminder to us that we are under their control. And let me say this: many of y'all didn't know that Frederick Douglass fought the statue where you got Abraham Lincoln, where the Hebrew slave is in chains and getting ready to stand up. He didn't like that. He said that he wanted that taken down a long time ago. Brother Gideon says that was a great dialogue. And we're going to get into that later on. But I got a guest on my show tonight, and I'm going to tell you all a little bit about him. Brother Ed, is there any music on someplace?
No.
I cut my music off, and I'm picking up something. Okay, you just did something that sound like.
Unplug the charger.
Okay, all right. Let's bring Brother Ed in, and he's our guest tonight. Where are you, Brother Ed? There you are. There's Brother Ed. Brother Ed, how you doing, man?
How you doing, sir? Taking it easy?
You taking it easy? Okay, now I gotta go back in here and fix some stuff because I did some stuff, and now I gotta go back over here and find out what I did. I cut the wrong thing off. Okay, let me bring that back in. Give me 1 second here, Brother Ed. There's Brother Ed. Okay. There's Brother Ed. I don't know that's on my part. I just don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if it's my microphone. I just don't know where it's coming from. And it's very disturbing in my ear. Okay, so if y'all can hear that, okay, and if it's not bothering you, if you're not picking up anything, let me know. And I'm gonna. Brother Ed, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, talk a little bit louder.
Mic check 1, 2.
Okay, I got Brother Ed on. Let me tell y'all where I have Brother Ed on. I've got Brother Ed on. I told you all we were going to bring Brother Ed on as a guest. And let me just tell you a little bit about Brother Ed. Brother Ed, he has been a part of Bethel for how long, Brother Ed?
I want to say more than 2 years.
More than 2 years.
More than 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
More than that, but probably I'll say a good 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
I used to go to church, and I used to watch you all go to church, and eventually I started coming. So I knew of the congregation for a long time.
Okay.
About 5 years.
Okay. So let me share something about Brother Ed. I met Brother Ed, quite a long time ago. I was going to say about 5 years ago. A lot of you all give to Bethel as a ministry. And did you hear that noise, Brother Ed? Did you hear
I
anything?
heard a click.
I'm sorry?
I heard a click.
I just don't know where it's coming from. I think I'm going to switch microphones. It's definitely my microphone.
Yeah, and they said my volume is low.
Okay, it's something that's coming in through my microphone system here. And talk, Brother Ed.
Mic check 1.
Yeah, I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to make a big issue about it at all. Go ahead and try it again, Brother Ed. Talk.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2.
Okay. All right. You all stand by. I can't take that sound. Hold on. Okay, Brother Ed, I think it's something on your end. I just don't know what it is.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it's something on your end. I don't know if it's the volume or the phone. Is your phone on?
No, my phone is my phone is off. I'm on the tablet.
You're on the tablet, okay. If you all don't hear that, if you say that you can hear us okay, I'm going to wing through this. So let me know if you can hear us okay. I'm hearing like a constant buzz noise here and there. So we're going to get started. So I'm waiting for you all to respond to let me know. Bethel is a ministry that we believe in. One of the things that we believe in is helping the community. That is very dear, and that's very important to us. And the reason why that's dear and important to us, we don't want to be a ministry that just teaches. Jesus said, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was naked, you didn't clothe me. When I was in prison and in the hospital, you didn't visit me. And I think it's important that we as a ministry also learn to help people in the community. Somebody says, I hear the buzz as well. Put your microphone on mute there for a minute, brother.
Put it on mute.
Yeah. I want to see if that's something to do with it. That's what it was. It's something on your table, something that's connected that is giving us a problem. I have no idea what it is, but it's something there that's giving us a problem. So I don't know if it's picking up something. So now it's completely gone away. And now take your phone off, take it off of mute.
Hello?
Okay. It's back, but I don't know what it is.
Can you hear it now?
Oh, it's bad. It's really bad.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's really bad. And I don't know if it's something that is picking up some sort of static someplace. I don't know if something's next to your device, but you got to fix that. Something's next to it or something.
Okay.
And it's still there.
It's still there?
Yes, sir. So go ahead and put yourself on mute. Go ahead and put yourself on mute, and I'll bring you in. And when you talk, take it off of mute. So I apologize for that. Basically, Bethel is a ministry that we believe in helping the community. So one of the things that we did, he doesn't have headphones, Brother JD. One of the things that we did was is he's sitting next to an electronic or a microwave. I don't know if he is or not, but if there's something around him, yeah, take your phone away. Take your phone away. Take any other electronic items you got around you. Take all of that stuff away. Yeah, put all of that away. So in our community used to be a challenging community. Bethel purchased the whole block. We literally purchased on the avenue the entire block. So we have 2 houses and 2 places of worship. One we occupy, and the other one we've had a brother in there with the school and with a small ministry in there. And so and the area has always been a challenging area, but they have done gentrification. And one of the things that we've tried to do is we feed people every week. Every Sabbath, whenever we have lunch, anybody can come and get lunch. The first Sabbath of every month, we feed everybody breakfast and lunch, and they can get clothing. Now, I say that because a lot of you in the chat room give financially to Bethel. And I want to let you know what we do. Today, I know that we have enough to feed at least up to 10 people who are around and just need that type of assistance during COVID-19. And so when we met Brother Ed was always coming to the service. He has some challenges, and some of his challenges he's going to share with you. After Brother Ed had been around for quite some time, we as a ministry, Brother Ed adopted us and we adopted him. And he is now our groundskeeper. His housing situation was a challenge, but we took him in, and he accepted us and we accepted him. And he started to really clean the entire neighborhood. Brother Ed eventually got a good job, and he was working and just doing, COVID-19 has brought some challenges on him because like most jobs, people let you go during the COVID-19. But we invested in Brother Ed. And so Brother Ed, share with us, because I think every ministry that's in a neighborhood should invest in the individuals in the neighborhood and bring somebody in, if you're able to help them on their feet. And us doing that, Brother Ed has been a blessing to Bethel, a big blessing to Bethel. So Brother Ed, share with us your testimony, and I'll kind of guide you along the way here. You got to take your phone off of mute. Take it off of mute.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay. So where you want me to start? When we first, because I could go way back.
Yeah, you can start when we first got together. Absolutely.
Okay, well.
Brother Ed incidentally lives in our parsonage, if you want to call it that. He lives at our house on our property. He lives in one of the houses there. So that's where he's at right now. And he keeps all the grounds. He keeps the whole neighborhood. The whole neighborhood loves Brother Ed. So, Brother Ed, go ahead and just pick it up from there.
Well, I had a few challenges in life. We all do, but this this position right here is the people from the neighborhood. I know these people. I know them very good, and you can see a lot of change in a lot of the people around here. When there is no church, people are still able to get meals here. I've given people, clean clothes, t-shirts, socks, shoes, and at the same time, I try to install in them what, the thing would change. Like, we're not going to stay the same, but some people are scared to change because they get familiar with, what they're going through, their surroundings. But, having doing the groundskeeper thing is before COVID-19. I just, I feel something. It's called service. Like sometimes I see homeless people on the street, or I could see a person going through something for that day. I'm gonna try to rearrange that situation and give them some kind of hope. Helping people elevate. So, being here, that's definitely, it's giving me. It's giving me that thing for service. Sometimes I could just flag somebody on the street. Hey, come here. Talk to them real quick and change the mindset a little bit. But that's what I've been doing here. For the longest, and it feels good. It feels good doing it. It feels real good.
You got involved with, as you shared in your testimony there at Bethel. You got involved with legal issues, and then you came out. What impact did that have prior to Bethel? What was that like going through all of that?
Well, when you're incarcerated, you seem to get, you get a lot of respect in there. You could, being incarcerated, I was head cook, diet cook, in food service in general. When I was at work release, they gave me the keys to the whole compound, the laundry room. I was making the sandwiches for the people when they go out to work. But it seems like, being incarcerated, when you jump back out, it's kind of hard to, kind of lock back in and do what you were doing, incarcerated. They give you a lot of education, and, it's a lot of stuff you could do in there. But it seems like when you get out on the street, connecting those dots of what you learned in there, you have to bring that out with you, just as well as when you get locked up, you have to bring some of the stuff from the outside inside also. You might come in with no integrity, but you're going to leave with integrity. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it's kind of, it's a challenge, but it's kind of like being on one planet, then you go to another planet, and then you come back to the planet. So you bring.
How long were you incarcerated?
How long?
Yes.
Well, it's been a rough journey. The first time, 1992, I was coming from a Dolphins game, dropped somebody off, was going in Pembroke Pines. The police I see all the time coming through the back way. Hey, you mind if I search the car? Yeah, go ahead. They always search the car. That night they found a .380, a pistol, and I know it wasn't mine. So I went to jail for that. And then it started with, I think a lot of individuals, and this has nothing to do with color. This is individuals, period. If you, like that charge, I could say, oh, I wasn't guilty, but it was in the vicinity where I was. With that, you figure, okay, they're going to try to give me 3 years, 5 years. And then you hear somebody say, hey, well, look, we'll give you a year, if you say you're guilty right now. And as a, young person, not really knowing, the system in general, that's what I did. And it just came, it was a pattern, because from the concealed firearm, then, the house arrest, the regular probation, you'll violate that, they start you all over again. So each time that's like a conviction, So I've, since 1992, all the way to 2001, probably 9 years total time. Just 9 years total time. But never one time going to trial, So I was taught, I saw that from the beginning. Okay, we're going to give you a year. And on that year, I did 4 months. 4 months, where I could have got 3 years or 5 years. So it was just, a lot of people, you could throw your life away doing it, but kind of with me from the first time I went in, it was a different element from the street. I had more people surrounding me in there. You heard more of, oh yeah, you're good, or, you're a good person. You kind of, they give you a love that if you're not feeling that in the street, you get used to that. So it was like, I think I was institutionalized to where, when I got out, I'm leaving brothers in there with life sentences, 10 years, innocent people, guilty people. It's all kind of people you're leaving behind that you didn't know before on the street.
So what's the longest consecutive time that you were incarcerated?
It was 5.
5 years. Coming out, you're now a part of the system. Explain the difficulty that there is in getting a job and being accepted back into society.
Yeah, it's very, it's hard. It's hard, but just, watching the people, come to church. You know what I mean? That back then it still does something to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a faith principle. If you believe you could get a job, you're gonna get it. But for me coming out, I didn't believe, well, they're not gonna hire me. If I put this on the application, they're not gonna hire me. So it just, it was like a battle. I know I got the skills to work, but it just took, somebody to accept me. So, it's like with BurgerFi and Burger King, the places I've been working, everywhere I've worked, is never a bad report. You know what I mean? I just get in and do what I got to do. But for the whole, say the system in general, I'm the guy, okay, I can see this guy's having a bad day or he's having a bad problem. Okay, before I let this ship sink with me on it, let me go and encourage this brother. Let me encourage this. Give them some kind of hope. Even if I'm going through something worse than what they're going. You know what I mean? That's how I don't prey on someone having a bad day. I'm not saying that. But, when I do run into a person like that, it feels good to be able to encourage them. Give them some other angles to go. Even if I haven't went there myself yet,
Okay.
I know some people right now that are doing great, went to college, went to school and everything. And just the little talk with me, and they, hey man, you gave me that spark and I was listening to you about this and that. So that makes me feel good.
One thing about Brother Ed, and Brother Ed, what I want you to do is when I'm, just put your phone on mute and you're going to have to take it off and on, okay? Brother Ed, let me just say what made us feel comfortable, because the moment somebody walks inside of your congregation, and Brother Ed was homeless at the time, but he always came to the service, kind of sat on the back seat. Sometimes he wouldn't stay long, he would leave. And of course, when you have somebody coming in, Brother Ed gave his testimony one day. He just got up and said, "Hey, coming out of a prison is difficult, but y'all pray." I can't remember his exact words in his testimony, but what happened was naturally, people started saying, "Who is this brother? Who is this brother? Can this brother be trusted?" And I don't know if you ever felt that, Brother Ed, or not, but it was like the brothers came and talked to him. Elder Levette came and talked to him. And this Elder Levette was the one of my elders there at the time, and he was like, "Hey, brother, he said, Pastor, I need to get to know this brother. I want to know who he is, I want to know what his intentions are, and that's what people think. Brother Ed was a little special because when he came, he was quiet. He sat on the back. It may have made some people feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel uncomfortable. Some of the other brothers didn't feel uncomfortable, but I think it was correct to say, let's find out who this brother is. And then one of the families at our congregation, the Ford family, they said, we know Brother Ed. Brother Ed's been around. He's been in the neighborhood for a long time. We know Brother Ed. And everybody felt more comfortable. And then Brother Ed started to share with me, I guess, some of the probation judicial issues that he was having within the system. You care to share that? And then we'll get into how we brought you in to start staying there. But what were some of those issues? Probation, not having a place to stay, not having a job. What were some of those issues like when you come out of the system trying to get acclimated? Take your phone off you have to take it off to mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Hello.
We got you.
Okay. Yeah. Some days, it's it is what it is. It was rough days. I remember one morning, one of the sisters from the congregation, as a matter of fact, on this front porch right here was, kind of cool. It was cold that night, and I just felt just safe, being around the church. And I laid down on the porch, and one of the sisters came, as a matter of
On the outside. You were laying down on the outside.
Yeah, on the front porch.
Right.
On the front porch of the house. And
Mm-hmm.
it was on the day where the feeding was, the first Saturday of the month, with the clothes and everything. And, me and the sister, I kind of, she said, "What's going on, brother? Like, what are you going through?" And I explained a little bit to her. And, it just, she didn't look down on me, but it was like, she was looking for that understanding too, Like, I know I was around a lot, but sometimes in the neighborhood, like when church was Saturday, I would sit across the street and, watch the families come and leave from the beginning to the ending, And the funny thing is, my family, we're Seventh-day Adventists. And when I say I used to, like, Oakwood Academy in Alabama, the Daughter of Zion in Delray Beach, I could specifically remember people getting baptized in the big pool, over the pastor. And I was scared. I just told my mama that a couple of weeks ago. Mama, I used to be scared of that tank when they let that water in there and they, baptized. So I really didn't, understand religion then. I was a kid. Couldn't wait to go to AY, every Friday where the youth go out bowling and stuff like that. I was, embedded in the church like that, but I never just, never really understood the religion, but then here I see, You have faith-based programs where they say, okay, you come here and you learn about this religion. This is going to happen for you. That's going to happen for you. And people go and do that, because they need, they need that. A lot of people go to church and don't understand, what religion is. But like I say, just seeing the people come for church Saturday, it felt good. It feels real good to be around that. Even, when y'all used to leave on a Saturday, it was kind of, gloomy, like, oh, church is over, but I couldn't wait to church, come the next week. And I started coming, but, those issues, man, just, trying to get a job. People basically, it seemed to me, if I didn't know anybody, I wouldn't get the job. And that's how it's always been. I had to know somebody to get the job where I was working, whether it was BurgerFi, Burger King, McDonald's, Long Beach Hospital, if it was prison, the sanitation company. I've had many jobs, but I had to know somebody at that job to get the job, Whereas, okay, let me fill out a application, and do my resume. They look at my resume, and eventually give me the job. I can't say.
So were you at the time working and then, but with not shelter? Was that the position you were working but no shelter?
Well, the position I was in is I'm a musician. I consider myself as a musician, an artist. I've survived off of selling my music. That's all I've done. The little CD and DVD duplicators. I'm pressing up one CD. I made that CD in 2001, and it's now 2020, and I just sold 2 of them yesterday. The same CD. I've been, kind of doing that for years, but I had the jobs before. When I was 16, I was a head dietitian in New York at Long Beach Hospital due to the death of, my supervisor. I was there the next day to take the menus up, get the meals prepared, telling this person to do this, make sure the dishes are washed. And the next day I was sitting at the big table in the hospital around the rest of the people. I was like in dietitian, and I didn't understand the purpose of that at the time. It was just work. It was work to me, but I was young and eager. But, over the years, like I left, as a matter of fact, let me say this real quick. I was in 69, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. In 70, I left and moved to Florida. Okay, in 78, I went to New York to meet my dad. I came back in 86 at 16. I thought I was grown, and, me and my dad got in an argument. I made a flight, came down here, had all my studio equipment, all my lyrics, all my possessions that I gained from, I want to say, since 8 years old to 16. Under the impression, I'm going to make moms proud. I can't wait to see my sisters and, stuff like that. When I got to Young Circle, that was a homeless camp then. That was Tent City. I had a bag stolen from me with all the money I ever saved up. When I say from 8 to 16, everything. I used to give my dad money to do this and do that, but that was peanuts compared to what I had saved up. So I lost that. End up going back to Young Circle that night, and the dude said, "Hey man, look over there in the dumpster. There's a bunch of papers over there." And I went to the dumpster, and all those songs that I collected, some of them I did in 2001. And that was back from 86. So, just being able to salvage that part of my life, it was good for me because I was grounded. Before I left Florida, I was doing music. When I got to New York, I was doing music. But it was always undercover. I'm working at McDonald's, or I'm at the hospital, or, I'm doing trash on the beach, but nobody ever saw the music part.
Right.
So that's,
And I heard your music. Your music is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. How long were you homeless before staying there at Bethel?
I want to say since really 2013, 2014, since that time right there.
Okay.
But my mom, what happened? My mom's came and picked me up. She stayed in Orlando. Um, her legs are kind of bad and everything. So, when I seen her, I went and hugged her, mama cried. She said, "Come on, son, I came to get you." I gave all of my stuff away, duplicators, studio, just everything, and packed up a couple of clothes and got in the car with mama. We went to Orlando. We went to Alabama, up to Huntsville, Oakwood Academy. She took me everywhere. It kind of retraced my roots a little bit, but gave me a good feeling. I'm out of Florida. Well, make a long story short, 2 weeks I came back. I came back down here, and she understood. She knew how I was. She's always been there for me. She just told me last week, like every time I went to jail, no matter what she had to do, she would bond me out of jail. If she had to use the rent money, she would bond me out of jail. She said just knowing that I was safe, that she could get to me, that she could, touch me, know that I'm there, and I understand that coming from her now, going through it. Like I say, all I knew was, hey, look, the streets is rough. Prison took care of me the first time, well, I got a good chance if I'm there again. And that's how that's how it started. If you look at Shawshank Redemption, the old guy got out of prison, the one that hung himself. I never wanted to hang myself. I'm not gonna do that. But what I'm saying is he couldn't get used to society. You know what I mean? He couldn't adapt back to society. But with me and what's been going on in my life, like I feel so grounded right now. I feel super grounded. I don't even feel like I could fly. I'm just on the ground like it's you know what I'm saying? I feel solid. I feel together. I feel whole, and it feels real.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this, cause brother, let me say this to brother Ed and about brother Ed. We kind of knew that brother Ed or somebody at the time, we knew it was somebody sleeping on the porch, and we had no idea. We said somebody's sleeping on the porch, and we would come to the service, and somebody would say, "Hey, somebody's been here sleeping on the porch." Now we have our main building, and then next door there's another building, which is our administrative building, which is where brother Ed is right now. And so somebody would say, "Somebody's sleeping on the porch," and then there was a couple people. There was people sleeping in the back, and then I found out that people that are going through challenging times, they feel more comfortable sleeping on the grounds of the church. So at that particular time, when we found out it was brother Ed, it was like, let's see what we can do to help. We didn't do anything at that particular point in time because brother Ed, he's a survival type of guy. He had a job, as he said, but at the same time, let me see what somebody says. I feel, brother, I am okay. All right, sorry about that. So brother Ed, he would have a job, but somehow he would just survive. So a couple of weeks would go by, we wouldn't see brother Ed. Brother Ed would come back. A couple of weeks go by, we wouldn't see brother Ed. But then brother Ed, remember you started to volunteer around the church. Remember that? Before you moved in. Remember that? Are you there? I can't hear you. We can't.
Hello?
Now we got you.
Okay, yeah, it was challenging because I used to watch other people sleep on the porch, and then sleep, on the grounds and everything. And it was a time where it was cold one night. It was you remember the bus on the property, the bus one in the back. A guy used to sleep under under the bus.
Yes, I
know?
remember. I remember.
And it was cold, and I see people, sleeping here and there, and I just, not like a Bogart or anything, I just, hey, kind of straighten a few people up, ran a few people away, and then still to this day help who I can. Somebody came today and I gave him oodles of noodles, one soup.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even want no water. He just wanted to break it up and just eat the soup. He was that hungry.
Wow.
But I was able to, to help him. And then, if you ask somebody, hey, that's enough, you need anything else? If they say no, you can't really force it on them,
Right,
they're going to stand on that decision of what they want. And he broke that soup up and just started eating it like chips or something.
But every Sabbath you would always help. You would stay around. You was you would help clean up the kitchen. Remember that? You would help clean up the kitchen. And a lot of people didn't know where Ed went to after that. Ed would just come in. He would come in service. He would we would eat lunch and he would just take the trash. He would just help. He would just help. And then Brother Ed started to help one of the ladies that comes and cleans up the church and the house. Brother Ed started helping her. Remember?
Yeah. I used to leaving out. Church is very busy here on a Saturday. Very busy. Perfect example. You remember the what was it? From Hebrews to Negroes, the festival.
Yes.
That was action packed right there. That was heavy.
When we had that conference, yes, we must have had about several hundred people. Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. But in the process of doing what I've been doing so long, it was, I could shoot right here and empty the garbage can real quick and put another bag in. And, when people leaving and trying to clean up, you got to, it's kind of, you have to juggle it. Like some of the sisters are like, hey, man, you can't do that on the Sabbath. But we can't leave the place. You know what I mean? We got to, do some kind of cleaning. So I used to show them, yes, ma'am, and try to, guide them in another direction and then come behind them and clean up and, mop and everything. And by the time everything done, they coming back in the building. Where's everything? It's clean in here. So, I used to do that. I couldn't wait for church for here to be over with so I could, okay, let me come in and boom, 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 tighten up real quick. And
let me say this. Brother Ed was one of those guys. He came down to the church. He would do this stuff. He wouldn't ask for nothing. He just became a part of the Bethel family. Sometimes some people come down and they would do things and they want, they want some money, they want this. So Brother Ed didn't want anything. Brother Ed was just picking up and helping out. And he would do that every Sabbath. And then Brother Ed, I think we had a conversation and you told me, listen, man, I was a part of the system. It's difficult. It's what have you. But Brother Ed was the type of guy, he managed. And it didn't even dawn on me to say, Brother Ed, where are you staying at? Because you would come in, come out, and then you would say, I'm working someplace. And then Brother Ed would go someplace and you would think that everything was fine. Put your phone on mute just for 1 second. I want to share this story. So come back in when you want to chime in on this, Brother Ed, chime in. So I think it was it was during raining season. And it was during raining season, and it was when it has raining season here. It's like a 2 or 3 days. Well, Brother Ed, he had came around. I did not know, other than the few times he slept on the porch, because a lot of people would sleep on the porch and then they're working and then they go get a room. But Brother Ed, we didn't know. I mean, he really just didn't. If he came around for service, eat, help, and leave. So this particular night, I get a phone call. Remember this, Brother Ed? I get a phone call, and they said somebody. I got a call from the police, and they said somebody is inside of your building, and we got a call, and what have you. So when the police got there, they went to go open up the door at the church, and I forgot to lock the door, and the alarm goes off. Well, by that time, they get over there to Brother Ed. Brother Ed is like, I don't want no problems out of the police at all. And Brother Ed was helping somebody, and the church house was open. Well, Brother Ed wasn't really supposed to be in the house, but one of the members, because it was raining, decided to help Brother Ed. And of course, Brother Ed, he said, I don't want no problems. So Brother Ed hid behind, what was it, the dryer or something? Wash machine or something like that. And the officers came in and they checked the church out. The alarm was going off, and I'm getting phone calls. And then we had another family living on the other side. And I came down, and they says, well, we have somebody, and but he says that it's okay for him to be here. Well, when I got there, I'm looking, and I see Brother Ed. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. And I said, no, he's okay. And the officer said, no. He was hiding. So I said, no, something's wrong. So I didn't know. When I talked to Brother Ed told me, says, Pastor, I cleaned up today, and I have the key. And the sister helped me out because it was raining. And I said, wow. And I told the officer, I said, listen, I can handle it from here. Everything is fine. I'll handle it from here. And they said, well, are you sure? Because this guy's not supposed to be here. Well, Brother Ed had already had an encounter with that particular agency, and it wasn't pleasant. So Brother Ed was like, I'm not taking no chances because I know what they did before. So Brother Ed said, I'll take my chances hiding. And of course, I don't know if they sent the dogs inside that house or what, but they came in and Brother Ed is tucked. And the officer says, listen, are you sure? Because this guy was hiding. And I said, just feeling within my spirit, I said, no, something's, there's an explanation for this. So Brother Ed said, listen, Pastor, there's nothing missing. Everything's fine. I have the key. And I know I should have told you, but it's been raining and I was helped out. And I didn't know anything about it. Other than one of the other elders knew that Brother Ed was helping out clean up every Sabbath. And sometimes coming down during the week, we wasn't paying him for it. Brother Ed don't ask for nothing. And I'm like, okay. So at the end of the day, remember this, Brother Ed? I said, Brother Ed, so where you been staying at? And it was getting ready to rain again. And Brother Ed says, well, I've been staying here, Pastor, and I know, but I said, for how long? How long will you have been there? I don't even know how long it was. You have to take your phone off of mute. Take your phone off of mute. There you go.
Yeah, it had to be like at least 3 months.
At least 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. But let me tell you, when you walk in, you cannot tell Brother Ed had been staying there for 3 months. At all. You couldn't tell. And so one of the other elders, Brother Ed dropped one of the other elders' name. Brother called up the other elder. He said, well, Pastor, I kind of suspected, but I'm not for sure. So I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, well, this is perfect. This is perfect. Because when we come there to eat, you cannot tell Brother Ed is living there. I mean, we got bathrooms there. It's a fully furnished place. I mean, it's a dining hall is what it is. And there is, my office is there. And Brother Ed says, Pastor, it's just getting someplace. And I says, well, why didn't somebody tell me about it? I mean, I think it's a, so I told you, I said, well, Brother Ed, I think this is a good idea. And the look on your face when I said, well, I think this is a good idea. This is perfect. Because, what's that?
I said I couldn't believe it when I talked to you. I thought that was it. I thought life was over as I knew it, you know?
Oh.
I was done.
Yeah, and the officer was trying to get me, Pastor, you this guy's not supposed to be in here. You didn't give him the key. How do you get the key? And somebody lost some keys. I had gotten a phone call that somebody lost keys. And it was a message was left on my machine. So I said, well, okay, Brother Ed found the keys. And maybe he realized that they go to the church. And but Brother Ed was given those keys, the keys that I got the message on that was lost was not connected to all of this. So the officer kept saying, Pastor, I think you need to arrest him. I mean, this guy, he has a record, and I think, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, this is good. This is good. I think everything's going to be all right, officer. And, they was, how they were doing. And the one guy, Ed, I went over to talk to Ed. Ed was there in handcuffs, and Ed says, Pastor, I hear it because I don't trust that guy right there. And he's got a history. And sure enough, the guy has a history. When you check, he has a history of kind of fabricating the reports a little bit. And so I listened to Ed. I listened to Ed because I just listened to Ed. So I said, Ed, I like this. So I said, can you take the handcuffs off of him? I'll handle it from here. And so I told Brother Ed, I said, Ed, this is a great idea. Can you continue to stay here? But I like for it to look like don't nobody stay here. Can you do that? And he says, no problem. And Brother Ed he started to help clean up the house where you are. And then he's cleaning up the whole grounds. And Ed is helping people in the community. He would fix plates and if whatever he could do. We had people bringing clothing there. And we never, ever have had a problem there. Ever. And because people respect Bethel, they really do. And so long story short, Brother Ed, I think you lived there another 2, maybe 3 months before I told anybody officially about it. And so one day I said, Lady McIntosh, it was she's always concerned about everybody. And you came and you were picking up stuff, and she says, Pastor, you know, we got to help this guy. And I says, what's that, Mother? She says, well, I know he's working, but I heard that he doesn't have a place to stay. And we went on to talk, and I said, Mother, Brother Ed's been staying here for at least the last 5 or 6 months. She goes, yes. And so I said, okay, I better tell the board about it. Let me let the board know. So we called a board meeting. I said, listen, I want to let y'all know somebody's been living here and they've been helping, and you can't tell. It would have been nice if I would have came to tell you all, but I didn't tell you all because I wanted to see how it was going to work out. And they says, everybody was just happy. They was like, yeah. And let me tell you, Brother Ed, I met your probation officer. When your probation officer came down, he says, well, he was looking for you that day. He says, well, Ed told me he stays here, and it's kind of a nice place. And he said, I just wanted to verify it. And I said, well, he says, well, you know, a lot of people lie to you. They'll tell you they live someplace, and I've had it all. They'll tell you they live there, and when you go knock on the door, the people who really live there at work, and they'll lie, and you leave cards on the doors, nobody call you back. So he says, I just wanted to verify. And I said, no, Ed lives here. Ed's a very valuable member, and he's a very valuable person to Bethel. And so he says, man, that's good. He says, you know, this guy is unusual. He's like the perfect poster child when someone's going through the probation system, getting off. And they ended up, after you had cleared everything, you ended up being the speaker. And they had Ed come down, and the guy went back and told everybody, no, this is perfect, this guy. And what was that like? Well, that's the story of how Brother Ed got there. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. So Brother Ed he's just been a blessing. And I think that every community, every church, you should try, as the scriptures say, try the Spirit by the Spirit. Brother Ed has been tried by the Word. The brother is honest. He's full of integrity. Everybody goes through something in life. Everybody just needs a good opportunity, a good chance. And so what Brother Ed being around, Brother Ed really has been a blessing. When I go through there, Brother Ed has started to, and he's being, I thought he would bring this out, but he's not, so I got to do it for him. I let him talk about it. Brother Ed is in the process of putting together a lawn business and getting the equipment and putting other people who have challenges, who have coming out of the system, and putting them to work. So that's what Brother Ed is working on now. Tell us about that, Brother Ed. Because Brother Ed has been the whole community where we are. Our street is wonderful. Every time I go there, no trash. Brother Ed's either picking up stuff. He clears people who are setting up illegally. Brother Ed clears them. He doesn't let none of that stuff take on. And now gentrification is happening because we have the area being purchased, and they're putting new buildings all over the place now, Brother Ed. A new fire department, they're putting new housing, new everything all around us, and they're doing gentrification. But Brother Ed is still there doing strong. Tell us about the business you're getting ready to open up, Brother Ed. You got to take your phone off of mute.
Yeah, the COVID thing really, it set a lot of people back. And I went to my job. It was on a Tuesday. I'll never forget. Came in, I was looking to meet Tom Joyner that morning. He was, coming up to the restaurant like at least 2 other times. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna come today. He's gonna come today. I was gonna give him a CD. So I went to work that day, and people was just looking real sad. Like, I figured something, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. All week they whispering and hold on a second. This thing here is just okay. Yeah, they were whispering all week, so I knew something was going on, but when the COVID thing hit and we had to wear the mask, I never been through nothing like that in my life. I saw it on TV a lot, and it kind of just, even to today, it's not such a gloomy feeling, but that was a bad feeling. When it came, I came to work and there was no work. They closed the building down, so I, in return, I had much more time on my hands, so I just started, one day I was like, well, yeah, the job is closed. Let me try to sit down and do my food stamps. And I actually did something, I could slow down to concentrate to do something that I've, not what I wanted, but what I needed. So I just started, I know one day I looked outside the door and like, man, let me clean up. And I just, from now on, I think I've done at least over 20 properties. When I just, a guy donated me a blower. We have a rake here at the church. I get Sister Ford's machete and, go in the neighborhood and do my thing. Even we don't have the garbage bags left either because, I was using the garbage bags to clean the leaves up. But it was just something to, something I felt like doing kind of to ease the pressure on me. I was confused, but one thing I knew that I wasn't going to do is go back up that road or to jail, period. That's my mind state before. Like I told you, it was just, it's going to be cold tonight. Let me do something to go to jail for the weekend. I used to go on the Hallandale Bridge, but I just felt, I don't know if I'm an out in the open person or a nature person. I do like outside. But it is something about being inside. It's more, it's a ring. It's a piece. You can't, when you're by yourself, there's no peer pressure, or you don't have to worry about being by this person. The police come and they find drugs right there. That's your drugs. You don't have to worry about getting in the fights. It's a lot of negativity you can get into when you're not secluded. You're not inside. So it's just like I say, I've been even the color tone warehouses. I just came back from Georgia Sunday. And up there, I started something like a GoFundMe page, right? And, like you said, I needed help doing what I was doing. And I know there are people that will help me for free, that will actually do that. But then as far as getting equipment to, to do the jobs, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm focusing on, because there's a lot of people that are incarcerated. They've yet to even get time, but whether they're fortunate, to get out real early or ever again in life, I just feel that, something could be lined up on them. It's people that don't know where to go to get clothes. They don't know where to go to get something to eat. Or even when they do go to get something to eat, maybe the food is gone. So on the grand scale, the help, I've been receiving, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank the congregation because you gave me an outlet. You know, I think maybe I heard a little snippet of, maybe one or two of my songs, but I've kind of, changed my music up. Changed it up a whole lot. It's quite more. It's spiritual. I might not even have to say a Bible scripture. I might not have to say God or Jesus, but when you hear it, you're gonna feel, yeah, some kind of connection right here. That's just, this is spiritual music. So that's what I'm. This whole thing is just is grooming me to groom somebody else. That's all it is. The same way you brothers took me in on the street, I take people in. Like where I could see this person on the street. Hey, remember you told me you was all right now, and they'll straighten up when they see me. So it's showing me some kind of, that I'm getting through some kind of. I know a guy in this neighborhood right now that is working for Publix. He has him a job. I just talked to him today. I said, see what I told you last time? He's like, yeah, man, you're right. But that feels good to me. Feels good
Absolutely.
doing that.
Absolutely. And Brother Ed, that's what the blessing part of it is. I told Brother Ed today, every Thursday when I come down to load the refrigerator for other individuals that need food, Brother Ed, he helps me. We must have put, what, 20 chickens in the 20 whole chickens in the freezer today? We can't hear you, Brother Ed. So yeah, we put about 20 whole chickens in the freezer today. Vegetables, all that stuff, and that's why Brother Ed is a big help to Bethel to help us do that stuff. And Brother Ed, we thank you, brother. We talked about him for a long time just to come in and share. But put your thing on mute for a second, Brother Ed. He can hear me. He's just putting his mic on mute so we don't get the background. The prison system, if we don't step up and give people an opportunity or a chance, or deal with some of the way that this system is doing, as Brother Ed shared with me when he was going to get this thing off the ground, this idea of getting the lawn equipment and some stuff he's already started to get. And I said, Brother Ed, today I said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get your equipment. I'm going to help you get the tools that you need to get yourself going, because he's a hard worker. And I know that he would help people because that's just the way Brother Ed does. And I said, Brother Ed, I'm going to help you get the equipment. I'm going to help you get I think he talked about he needs some tree trimming stuff. And I says, I have a resource and we're going to help you. We're going to help you get this thing going so that he could be self-employed. And so we're going to help Brother Ed do that, because Brother Ed knows what it means to help other people, and I think that's important. And that's what we have to do in ministries. We can teach. And I just wanted to, when Brother Ed and we've been talking about doing this testimony thing for about a year now and just sharing. But let me just say this. Because like I said, a lot of you all give, and I always tell you that we're helping people, we help feed people, we help clothe people. And when I tell you that, we're not just a teaching ministry. We don't just teach that we're the people of the book and here's the law, statutes, and here's all of that. You have to make an impact, and you got to help people like Brother Ed. So I know some ministries are going to perhaps listen to this. Find a Brother Ed in your community. people are, test them. Whatever you have to do, find a brother Ed in your community. Help that brother Ed, because that brother Ed will know how to help other people. And brother Ed can wean people out. If people come through, he said, "No, Pastor, Pastor, this they good." And brother Ed knows. He keeps his ears to the street, and whenever we come, I don't care if the ladies get down there at dark time. Brother Ed, everybody knows Brother Ed. You don't touch nobody that's at Bethel. They can go there at 11 o'clock at night, and if they're coming out of service, a Bible study, nobody, because we have a Brother Ed that's in the community, a part of the community, that had a challenge, but just given an opportunity, he, like I said, the whole street, Brother Ed, the city workers sees Brother Ed out there, not just on Bethel Street. He keeps a whole community, and people like Brother Ed. They just, and so I say, find a Brother Ed, help a Brother Ed, because we are our brother's keeper. And so, Brother Ed, I want to say thank you to you, my brother. Thank you for what you do. Keep doing what you do. And we're going to help Brother Ed get a business going, because eventually, I was telling Brother Ed, where he's staying at now, we're going to add on eventually. And where Brother Ed is at now, that's 4 bedrooms there? But we use them. We use them for, it's a dining hall. But we're going to eventually make that a transition home, where Brother Ed will then screen other people and help other people that are coming out that just need that little chance. And then where we are now having service, that's going to be our new dining room. And then we're going to add on to a whole different place where we're going to come at. And so we're going to add on. We're going to tear down one of the houses and add on to the existing place. And we want 2 other brothers to come there, or maybe 3, that we're going to transition, and we want to help them. We want to see Brother Ed get his business off the ground. We want to see him get good contracts. We want to see him make enough money that Brother Ed, when he says, "You know what, Pastor, I'm moving out, but I'm still going to run this house, but I got my own place," and he's going to help other people do the same thing. This is what we have to do, and I know we're going to be successful at it. And I just thank you, Brother Ed, for coming on tonight. Thank you for sharing what you do, and thank you for all of that. And those that do give, we're able to do things like this in the communities. Brother Ed says, when we bring food down there, Brother Ed is always helping somebody in the community, always. Whether it's taking them some of the food that we bring down, he's always making sure, along with the ministry, that the right people get the food. And Bethel is in a nice area. It's in a nice area. And of course, like I said, the gentrification is coming, and we got different ethnic groups that are moving into what are they selling those townhouses for across the street from the church? Do you know what they're selling those for? I can't hear you. I know they got a sign up. Take your mute button off. I know they got a sign up. I'm trying to think.
299,000.
Starting. starting at $2.99. So they're about the $3.50. So you know how they say when they start at $2.99, that's the small one, and then that's with just the basics, and then but they average $2.99, which is $300,000 to $400,000. And with the new fire station, and then they built some other new these other new condos and stuff. So when we first moved there, it wasn't like that. And they have really approached us about buying us out, and we decided to just hold down for a minute. Let's just hold up for a minute. And but I want to thank you, Brother Ed, and for what you do and all of that stuff. And I want to say thank you for all of you all that give, that makes us, help us make these things possible. Brother Ed, thank you for coming on tonight, my brother. Anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you for having me. I just, I want to thank you, and I want to thank the congregation. It's a lot. It's a lot behind this. It's not just me. I'm a product of Bethel. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. I've, just the integrity. I think that's the most important thing that I've learned. With the whole process. Integrity. I remember it was one time I found the sister's wallet across the street. I saw the guy when he dropped the wallet, but I could have said, no, let me leave that wallet there and let her find it. I turned it into the church, and it didn't have any money in it. I don't know if it was, I think it was the Sunday. I think it was on a Sunday or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. They was, I could kind of feel that tension, but I had enough integrity to, return that to her, finding that on the ground, whereas somebody probably would have left it. You know what I mean? That's what integrity is. Doing something that, another person, when nobody could see you. You know what I mean? It's doing something when nobody can see you. Doing good when nobody could see you.
Doing the right thing.
But I appreciate everything. It's only this is life changing. Now when we get the music going, you got the choir over there. I'm getting ready to record a couple of the sisters, and we get a little album going on, and that I look forward to that, the music part of it.
Yes.
Everything else.
And Brother Ed is not, I've heard his music. It's not, you got some people that do music. Brother Ed has done some great beats. And I was like, Brother Ed, that's you? He said, oh, yeah, that's me. That's me. And when I see him doing it, I was like, wow, where did that come from? Very talented, Brother Ed, very talented. So, Brother Ed, we'll see you, my brother. Thank you for coming on tonight.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon, my brother.
All right, be blessed.
All right. Let me just share this with you all. We thank Brother Ed for coming on tonight and being here with us. I want to share this. I want to share something with you that we're going to talk about. I'm off tomorrow. I'm not going to be on long, but I want you to listen to this. Let me say this. The other night we had Brother Surreal on here, and the UA community. I've heard about that community. He's in that community. I wanted to find out their logic and their frame of thinking when they read and interpret the scriptures. And let me say this to you. This group feels that the commandments exist, the Sabbath exists, The Sabbath is real. The commandments is real. The feast days are real. They don't doubt that at all. They just feel like it's that there's two separate Sabbaths, two separate sets of commandments for the Gentiles, distinguished from the children of Israel and their descendants. And that's how they feel. That's basically the core. The difference between that community and your traditional Romish Christian theology is the Christian pastor, the Romish Christian pastors, they say that the commandments have been nailed to the cross. They say that the feast days have been nailed to the cross. The Sabbath has been changed from Saturday, the seventh day, to the first day based upon the resurrection. Now, both of those groups teach that the Sabbath was changed as a result of the Messiah raising on the first day. Basically, when we showed, and I think we did a very good job in showing that you can't get 3 days and 3 nights between Good Friday and Sunday. And I didn't touch on the counting of the 3 days as much as showing him that in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, where he brought up the week before that the Messiah had resurrected, because he says, if you look at Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the last chapter in each one of those books, verse 1 tells you that Mary Magdalene, Revelation says, when John says, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. The Lord's day is not the day that he resurrected. The Lord's day is the day that when he's going to return. That's what John was envisioned about. That's why John saw everything that was going to take place on the Lord's day. The Lord's day is when the Messiah sits on the seat of David 1,000 years during the millennium. There was a couple of things that I did not address or tune in or hone in on, like when he says, when we go to heaven. And maybe Brother JD and I was talking, and I explained to Brother JD, I said, I let it go. Brother JD says, I didn't. And I can understand. I didn't bite at that. I didn't go in at that because the subject was the Sabbath. And I wanted him to really bring out the fact that the two main reasons why both communities, whether it's the UA community or whether it's the Romish Christian Baptist ministry, the two things as to why the Sabbath was changed from the first day to the seventh day, or from the seventh day to the first day, is based upon the fact that the Messiah rose on Sunday. And so when we were having the discussion, it was not something that he was going to bring up as he did the week before. So I ended up bringing it up and saying something about it because I wanted him to go there. UA means urban apologist. I believe that's what it is, urban apologist. And so that community, I'm not really familiar with, other than I know that they're out there and they do quite a bit of critiquing. So basically, I wanted to address that. I wanted to address the fact that to me, as I wanted to address it, was the fact that I just did not see the information being brought out that this is why we observe the first day. And it didn't. He didn't go there. He didn't go there as strong as I really wanted him to produce evidence, other than they met and he told them to give their collection on the first day, and the fact that purportedly the Messiah rose on the first day, and twice on the first day when the disciples were in the room, that he came in to meet with them. Now here's the problem with that. Everybody knows why they were meeting on that day. They were meeting on that day because his body had been taken, supposedly. This is why Mary came to the disciples and said they've taken his body. She went back to tell them, I saw him. That you're not going to go to your own house. No, you're going to be convened together. She says, I saw him, and he told me, go tell the brethren that I'm going up to my God, their God, my Father, your Father. Let them know that I'm going up. And the reason why he went up is because in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, the feast of the first fruit, or the waving of the first fruit, is always on the morrow after the Sabbath. And so when the Messiah, who is the first fruits, because he resurrected before the seventh day ended, he is a prerequisite to be waved on the morrow after the Sabbath. So if he resurrected on a Friday, he would have to wait until the weekly Sabbath, and then the morrow after the Sabbath, he's waved. In the year that Jesus was crucified, being on a Wednesday, 3 days and 3 nights later, when he rose on the Sabbath, he's still resurrected. He doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't do anything. The next morning when Mary got there, he was already gone. When he appears to her, he's appearing to her to let her know, let the brothers know, I'm going up. Why is he going up? Because you wave the harvest on the morrow after the weekly Sabbath. And after you wave him, that's why she couldn't touch him. That day, he comes back. He comes back. And this is big conversation. This is big conversation that they're having. And after he had been waved, he sits down and he meets a group walking. And they go in and they say, guess what? We saw him. We saw him. We talked to him. And then the scripture says later on that night, he came in and he appeared to them again. Now, in all of these scriptures, we know that why he's there that day, that's the day that they waved the offering. In all of the books that we read in the book, out of all of the books that he presented, or the incidents that he presented, we don't find anywhere in the scripture where none of the apostles, not even the Messiah, is saying that this is the new Sabbath. We don't find it. We don't find it anywhere. It's not documented anywhere. What we do find documented is that the Gentiles came to them and said, can you come to us the next Sabbath? This brother said, well, I can explain that. The reason why the apostles was going to the synagogue, it was to convert the brothers. If it was to convert the brothers, why did they not come the first day of the week? Why are the Gentiles saying, okay, and the scripture says, and the next 3 Sabbaths, he's meeting with the Gentiles. So where is it documented that he ever met on the new Sunday, other than Paul saying, when I come, start your collection? And the fact that he says, well, they broke bread on that day. But you can read in the scripture in the same book of Acts that they met daily from house to house breaking bread. So that doesn't substantiate anything. We're still back to their square one. They cannot produce any command where the Sabbath was changed from the 7th day to the first day. But remember, the UA group doesn't go with that. They say, well, wait a minute. We're going to be a little bit more different from the Christian pastors. We're not saying that they changed it. That Sabbath belongs to the children of Israel. This Sabbath belongs to the Gentiles. So there's 2 separate Sabbaths, 2 separate laws. And brothers and sisters, there's no word for that. You can insinuate it, you can guess it, but when you got every scripture that's showing that even Paul says, I am a Hebrew of Hebrews keeping the law. Even when you show Romans 4:15 that says, where there's no law, there's no sin. For sin is the transgression of the law. In their mind, they're saying, oh, we believe in that. But the law is the words that Jesus spoke. It's his words. Those are the new commands. I don't know how that's going to fly in any logic of mine other than at the end of the day, people are trying to avoid the 4th commandment. Hence, this is why. So I asked him the week before, I says, can you go sleep with your neighbor's wife? He says, of course not. Can you steal? Can you disrespect your parents? Can you bear false witness? And he said no. And when I asked why, because it's a violation of the moral law. And then I asked, can you worship idols? Can you put anything before God? And he said, of course not. And then I asked why. He says that goes against the moral laws. Now, the reason why I asked him those questions in that line, in that order, was because I wanted to name things that are specifically the commandments that's dealing with how to love your brother. So I dealt with that, which he calls the moral law. So I wanted to see, do they ignore the first 4 commandments? Because definitely the last 6 he's acknowledging. And so that's why I named those things. Can you commit adultery? Can you bear false witness? Can you covet? Can you lie? Can you, all of these other things, the last 6. And when he said no, and his reason is it's moral law, it's a violation of the moral law, that's why I went back to name the first 4 without naming the Sabbath. And when he said, no, you can't do those either. Why? It's against the moral law. Once I got that established as evidence, I said, I agree with you, brother. We're on the same page. The issue is that you don't like the Sabbath. You all got a problem with the 4th commandment. And that's how I normally deal with our Baptist preachers and Pentecostal first day preachers. That's how I normally ask them and drag them down that road. And then I'll ask, your problem is the fourth commandment. And I say that because I want them to say next that, no, we keep the first day because Jesus rose on the Sabbath. And I always say, show that to me. And they always go to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. They go to John, the 20th chapter, and Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They go to the last chapter, verse 1, and they'll read. They say, look, it's all in verse 1. And I do that, and I always listen patiently. I'll let them read it. And they'll go from one book to the next book. And I always listen very quietly and patiently. Because I want to see, are they going to ever read past verse 1 or 2? Are they going to ever read past those verses? In all the cases of their presentation, they never do. So then I would normally go back and say, can we go back to Matthew 28 and 1? And just so you know, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, verse 6, in all of those passages, they all say the same thing. He's not here. He has risen. Go to the next book. He's not here. He has risen. Go to the next book. He's not here. He's risen. Remember how he spoke to you that in the third day he would rise again? So the question is, as I presented that to the brother, he says, yeah, but we don't have a time. Okay, so you're saying the Sabbath, I could say it was Sunday in the morning time before she even got there, insinuating that because it was a certain time, maybe he left 15 minutes before she got there. Very good position to put on the table. And I want them to put that on the table so I can go back to Matthew 12 and 40. As Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights, establishing 72 hours and establishing the fact that if I can show you what time he went into the grave, he can't stay longer than 3 days and 3 nights. He cannot stay longer than 72 hours. And we know that Joseph of Arimathea begged for the body of Christ before the sun went down, because the scripture says, and the Sabbath was starting to draw on. The issue is, what Sabbath? And because it's the preparation day, all of those groups, whether it's the UA group, whether it's the Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Christian Baptist, whatever, Full Gospel, Pentecostal, they all think that because it says it's the preparation day, they all assume that that's on a Friday. Because the only Sabbath that they know about is the 7-day Sabbath, which is why we took him back to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, to show him that the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the next day after Passover, is a Sabbath. So therefore, the day that the Messiah was killed and crucified, it was a memorial but not a Sabbath. Which explains why that he was on the cross. I brought out the 6th hour of the day. The reason why I brought out the 6th hour of the day, because that's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. He doesn't die until the 9th hour, which is 3. When the sun goes down, it's the Sabbath of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which in that time it was on the Thursday. So once I showed that to him and said, hey, here we go, 1, 2, 3. But it doesn't give us a time. Well, one thing we do know, it was after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was before the sun went down. Because Joseph, the whole purpose of going to Pilate was that the bodies would not remain on the cross on the Sabbath day. When does the Sabbath day start? When the sun goes down. So we know, let's just say You're right, brother. And I usually say, you're right. We don't know what time. But we know it was after 3 and before 6. So 3 days and 3 nights later will give you on the 7th day Sabbath. And his resurrection would have to be after 3 and before 6. And that takes the helium that we observed the first day, because he rose from the grave on the first day of the week. It won't happen, brother. It won't happen, sister. It's not there. So I tend to be a little bit patient, because I know where I'm going to have a person come down certain doors that's going to be locked. The other thing that those groups, and I'm not just saying in particular UA, I'm just saying the first day, they always say, show me anywhere in the scriptures before the commandments were given on tablets from Mount Sinai, show me where the Sabbath was kept by anybody. You can always take them to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. The instructions was given, 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, the 7 days is Sabbath. That's in Genesis 2. I'll go over there real quick, and because I just wanted to show it to you. Genesis, the 2nd chapter, the Sabbath is established right there and then. It's not going anywhere. It's the Sabbath. And so when you look over there at the Sabbath, let me get right here for a second and kind of make that a little bit smaller for you all so you can see it there. There we go. There we go, right there. So it says, and on the, let me move it over so y'all can get to it. There you go. Y'all know I have to always do this and get things settled. There we go, right there. Okay. So it says, thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And the 7th day, the Lord, the 7th day, God ended his works which he had made and rested. You see, when he says he rested, that's not something to be taken lightly. And God blessed the Sabbath day and sanctified it, because he had rested from all his works. When you read in Exodus, this is why, one of the reasons why the Sabbath was instituted, other than being a sign for the future. So there's no way around any of this. There's no way around it when you say this. And then, of course, when you go to the book of Exodus, when the children of Israel, they were told that, listen, manna's going to come down for 6 days. Gather twice as much on the 6th day, because on the 7th day there won't be any. Now he fed them with manna because they have came up out of Egypt and they don't have the provisions of food. So the Most High fed them, and he even told them, grab as much on the 6th day, because on the 7th day there won't be any to grab. Why? It's the Sabbath. It's not until Exodus the 20th chapter are they given the commandments. That's when they were given the commandments. And you know that when you get over to the later passages, when Moses came down, he broke them because they were making a calf. So when we read the 16th chapter, commandments on tablets and written form had not even been given. And then, of course, I took him to Genesis, the 26th chapter, and says that Abraham was righteous because he kept God's laws, statutes, and judgments. And of course, when you find people to start saying, well, he doesn't say what commandments, how do we know that the Sabbath was in there? After a while, you give the information and you realize that this person is not reading the book. They're not reading the book. There's only one set of commandments. Whenever it says laws, statutes, and it's only one set. It's only one set. And that's picky. Well, show me where it said that. Show me where it specifically said that it's the Sabbath was in there. Well, it don't say anything in there. When it says laws, statutes, and commandments, it didn't say that Abraham could not worship an idol. It just said commandments. But I know one thing, Abraham better not have worshipped no cattle. It didn't say Abraham can go sleep with somebody's wife. But I know one thing, when it says Abraham was obedient to God's laws, statutes, and judgments, I guarantee you he wasn't going to go do that. So that's why that's picky, that's techie, that's an excuse on the way out. And this is what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with people who want an excuse. They want a way out. And people are fighting the commandments. And the reason why they're fighting the commandments is because they don't want to do them. And I can't explain why would you run from God's statutes and judgments. And it's because when you don't know and you've made a mistake all these years, you got to cover your tracks. There are people who are like that. Opposed to admitting that they were wrong or it's not the right day, they rather to defend the issue incorrectly. Even if you put up and say, well, listen, can you do me a favor? Can you just show me anywhere in the scriptures where it was changed from the seventh day to the first day? Well, we know because it's now in our hearts. And I'm very leery when people start saying, well, the Spirit comes upon us. Because the Spirit is the Word, brothers and sisters. So if you can't show me in the Word, now His Holy Spirit will lead you and guide you and bring back into remembrance the truth. But if you never read the truth, what is it going to give you? What is it going to give you? So there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes. Let me tell you, I'm not going to. He's a good brother to talk to and to reason with. And he's probably saying, Pastor Johnson's a good brother to talk to and reason with. And there are people in that group that probably take the videos and break them down and analyze them without hearing them all the way through. I'm sure they do that. Just like the news does. You know, when something is said, then they'll take a little piece and say, you see what they said? And as they say, you got to read the whole script, because the media don't always play the whole script. And they're not going to play the whole script. They're just going to say the 7 days of Sabbath. And then they'll stop there. They won't play why I said why and the scriptures that I give or anything like that. At that point, they started going, you see, this brother's a false teacher. You hear what he said? But they won't let their listeners listen to the entire lesson. And the reason is because what we're presenting, brothers and sisters, is solid. Why is it solid? Because everything we gave, it's not our opinion. It's from the Word of God. It's from the Word. It's straight out of the Word. And you can't get mad at me if you say that brother's false, then you saying the Bible's false. Because I give it to you in scriptures. If it says Paul and the Gentiles met the next 3 Sabbaths, show me why didn't he meet with them on Sunday? Why? Because that's what Paul did. Paul was a Sabbath keeper. And what is he doing? He's teaching the Gentiles to come in and do the same thing. That's what he's teaching them. And then they further say, well, when you do that, you're taking away from what Christ came for. Brothers and sisters, Jesus came to establish his covenant by putting the laws that were written on those tables of stone in the hearts of our minds. And if we sin, he is the high priest, he is the sacrifice, and it's his blood. That's the new covenant. Nothing has been changed. Nothing has been wiped away. Nothing. And so what they do is they call everything now the moral law, but they cannot deal with that fourth day. Cannot deal with it. And it's not going away. It's in the scripture. It's like haunting them. It won't go away. Why won't it go away? Because all through the book of Acts, he talks about they met on the Sabbath. They met on the Sabbath. They met on the Sabbath. And some of those groups will say, well, they met on the Sabbath because they was going there to convert the brothers and sisters. If they were going there to convert them, then why didn't they say, and by the way, since Jesus rose on a Sunday, this is now the new day? They don't show that. Why? Because it's not the case. It's not the situation. So that was my assessment. I got some very good emails from a lot of you all and some calls and comments in the chat room. And that's it. So we're going to have a discussion on eating clean next. And like I said, I'm very patient because I want to see the logic of the thinking. And when I see the logic of the thinking, it lets me know where and how to prepare lessons. Now, I don't need to prepare for that particular lesson, but when I hear their logic of processing information, it lets me know how to deal with that particular group. Just like when I deal with my First Day Baptist brothers and sisters, their thing is the commandments still exist. And I'm talking about from a Pentecostal, Baptist, Methodist. They say the commandments still exist. They're still there. However, the fourth commandment changed from the seventh day to the first day because Jesus resurrected on the first day. That's what they believe. And with some of them, when they say, well, wasn't that stuff nailed to the cross? I said, the commandments with my God's own finger? Yeah, I thought that was nailed to the cross. And I always say, can you show me that, brother? And I do that because I want a person to start to think logically. I want them to look at what they're teaching and see if it makes sense to them. So I always ask them, can you give me the definition of sin? And they say, yeah. Sin is when we don't obey God's commandments. And I say, can you show it to me? Well, I mean, that's why he says, don't do this, don't do that. Then I ask them, I go ahead and give them Romans 4 and John, the book of John, 1 John, I give it to them. And then I say, do you agree with that scripture? Yes. Why is it the fourth commandment? Because I want to lock them in. I want them to tell me it's because Jesus resurrected on the first day. And that's the only reason. And once they do that, then we're going to educate on the 3 days and the 3 nights. And it could not have been Sunday morning. and it could not have been Sunday morning. If he resurrected on the first day, then he would have to wait until the weekly Sabbath, the next weekly Sabbath, and the morrow after that, which would have been the first day, to wave the offering. And he would have been the waving of the first fruits of the offering. But because he resurrected on the Sabbath, before the sun went down, he qualified, as long as anytime the harvest comes forth, all the way up until the seventh day before the sun goes down, you wave it on the morrow after the Sabbath. And because he resurrected on the Sabbath and he's a first fruits, you have to wait and wave him on the morrow after the Sabbath, which means he resurrected on the Sabbath, because that qualified him to be the wave offering the next day, which is why he told Mary, don't touch me, because the law is you don't touch the first fruits offering until it has been waved and accepted by the Lord, which is why he says, tell them I'm going up to be with my Father, their Father. And he came back. He came back the same day. But if you don't understand the feast days, you read that stuff and you make stuff up. Most of people do not read the laws. They don't read Genesis through Malachi. They only read Matthew through Revelation. And there are groups out there that whenever Jesus said in Matthew the 5th chapter, they said, these are the commandments now. These are the new commandments. But when you read those, they tie right in to the latter six. They really do. They tie into the latter six. And I'm going to do a lesson on that. I'm going to show you every last one of them, and I'm going to put them over there. Of course, one of the things they like is Jesus added a new law when he says, I say unto you, if any man thinks about another man's wife in their mind, they have committed the sin. So adultery, what constitutes adultery, has now changed because Jesus instituted something new. Now, brothers and sisters, the only thing Jesus said was, in reality, the moment you think it is sin. The moment you think the act. He didn't say that adultery, there's a new adultery. No, adultery is adultery. When you lust after another wife, that is adultery. So what he simply said, the moment you do it in your mind, it constitutes the sin. You don't even have to go through the act. It constitutes it. And so there's no difference. He didn't change anything. There's no difference. So these are the things that we have to hit these brothers and sisters with to bring that out. And we also have to realize, brothers and sisters, Paul cannot. Let me emphasize, Paul cannot. Peter cannot. They do not have the authority to change the law. One of the things I asked him the other night was, do you believe that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament? I says, I believe that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament. He says, oh, I do too. I teach that. He acknowledged that Jesus is a God of the Old Testament. Now, once you acknowledge that, I want you to look at the logic. Why would Jesus, being the God of the Old Testament, in other words, he was Yahweh before he became Jesus, because the Father sent him, why would he give the children of Israel a set of commandments, turn around and punish an entire nation of people, scatter them, then come through a woman being the Son of the Most High in the flesh to condemn sin in the flesh and give a whole new set of commandments. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense that he would happen. Now, what they would tell you is this: well, because something was wrong with the commandments. And that's why in Hebrews it says, for finding fault with them, he took away the first to establish the second. Brothers and sisters, when you read Hebrews, the 8th, 9th, and 10th chapter, there's only one subject on the table, and that's the sacrificial system. He took that whole paradigm out of the way. There's no more high priest. There's no more temple. There's no more sacrificing animals. There's no more getting the blood from the animals. He is it. The real tabernacle is where he's at now. He is the priest after the order of Melchizedek. He is the sacrifice. It is his blood. It has nothing to do with the abolishment of the commandments. It's the abolishment of the sacrificial system and all of the rituals that are with it. And it does not incorporate the 7-day Sabbath, and it does not incorporate the commandments written by his own finger. Doesn't incorporate it at all. So that's why that's important. Brother Rodney says, no sense at all. No sense at all. And it doesn't. But let me just say this. You're talking about years and years and years and years of indoctrination since Rome took over Christianity. It's like pulling, the Bible says in Daniel that the fourth beast is horrible. It's ruthless. The fourth beast is diverse from all the other beasts. And that fourth beast is Rome. And that fourth beast brought in Christmas, Easter, changed the day of worship from the 7th day to the 1st day. That fourth beast says you can eat anything you want, gave you Santa Claus coming down a chimney, and Easter bunny rabbit laying eggs, so that you don't even focus on God's feast days, although we can show in several places in the book of Acts that the feast days were being observed. All that to say you can eat anything you want to. The opposite, because that's how Satan works. That's why Daniel says the fourth beast, when they come, they're going to think to change times and seasons and laws. And it has. It has. You can eat anything you want to. You can just go and for a few hours on the first day of the week, and you don't have to worry about keeping the rest of the day holy. You can go to the football game, you can go to the grocery store, you can go shopping, you can do anything you want to. Just come and give your money and come in and hear the choir sing a couple times and go home and just have a good time. Just go enjoy yourself. Just go do your own pleasure on God's holy day. If you're going to keep it, if you're going to keep the wrong day, at least keep it right. If you're going to keep the wrong day, keep it right by at least observing the Sabbath. So these are the things that are on the table. I embarked on it in a season like this because, I don't know, it was just a good time to do it, I guess. So we did it. I'm gonna look at some of the viewpoints inside of the chat room because you all listened to it. Go back and listen to it again. If you want to send me some constructive feedback, I'm okay with that. Brother J.T. Turrell, is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Or were you baptized in the name of Paul? Thank you, brother. And everybody does. They run to Paul. They really run to Paul. As if Paul is a lawgiver. When Paul says, I am a Hebrew of all Hebrews, a keeper of the law. Yeah, coach. And the reason why I was patient is because I wanted to lock him in. I want them to make statements that would help when I'm teaching you all, so that you will see the statements that are made, that when we come back and teach, you will see. I mean, that's just the way it is. I just wanted to see. Brother JD is saying here, he says that's why there will be a lake of fire, because many are going in it. Well, whenever a brother says that we're going to heaven, then he probably thinks that there's going to be a hell. And there is no hell, brothers and sisters. There is a lake of fire. Now, if you want to call that the hell, that's fine, but there's a lake of fire. There is going to be a lake of fire, because Revelations tells you there's going to be a lake of fire. Believe that. There will be a lake of fire. Don't think there won't be. There will be. And you don't want to be cast in it, because the scripture says whoever's names is not found written in the Lamb's book of life will be cast into the lake of fire. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is a whole duty of man. But they say that those commandments, although he admitted that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament, there's a whole different set of laws given for a different group of people. That is confusion. That is confusion, brothers and sisters. But just confusion all over the place. Brother Whitaker says, let me put in here what he said. I want to click on it. I don't know why it's not letting me click on his name. There it goes. If you're going to do wrong the right way. I agree with you, Brother Whitaker. If you're going to do wrong, do it the right way. If you're going to say that Sunday is the Sabbath, at least keep it holy. At least keep it holy. And that's what's important. You got to keep the day holy. But I had a good time. I really did. And like I said, the brother was respectful. And that's all I ask. If we don't have to agree, let's just be respectful. And I will say, the brother was respectful. He made his points. He presented his points. And I commend him for that. I really do. I commend him for that. And as I do a lot of my other brothers and sisters that are Baptists, and I've got relatives that are Baptists, we go to a family reunion, we sit down. Sometimes we break open the book and we go through it, And let's go through it, brother. Let's go through this Christmas and Easter. A lot of people are getting rid of Christmas and Easter. They're realizing that it's pagan. They're dropping it. No longer doing it. Let's drop it. Let's get rid of it. Don't want to do it anymore. And I'm glad. I'm really glad. Because it has nothing to do, and it's the same people, if you get rid of it. I'm going to show you in history that the same people that brought in Christmas and Easter is the same people that brought in Sunday. The same people. Worshiping the sun, Constantine, it's right there in books. It's documented proof in history. We brought it in because, as Constantine wrote, and the historians wrote, it was brought in to make the pagans and the Christians join together and in appearance appear that everybody's on the same page. That's why they did it. And they don't lie. They don't hide it. They don't try to run away from why they did it. And incorporated Christmas and Easter and Sunday worship. Sunday worshiping. There's no way around it. Don't you all go anywhere. I'll be right back. Now, when it comes to eating clean, and that's what we're going to be talking about in in the next week or a few days, that it's going to be when we come up and have another discussion again. You all read Acts the 10th chapter very carefully in the 11th chapter, because this is what the groups like Geno Jennings and all of them say, that the dietary law was taken off the table because now, since the Gentiles are able to come in, and listen to this carefully, now that the Gentiles are able to come in, listen to this, what he showed them, that it was okay to deal with the Gentiles because he showed Peter, you can rise and kill and eat anything. I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Here's what's wrong with that. Number one, Peter himself said, "Nay, Lord, I have never eaten anything unclean." That's what he says. I've never eaten anything unclean. And then he goes on to say, I have never eaten anything unclean, but 3 times the sheet came down. Later on, the dream is interpreted to say the unclean 3 times represented the 3 men. Nowhere in that passage, nowhere in any of the teachings of the apostles, nobody ever said that the dietary law had been changed. Nobody said it would be dropped. Nobody, anywhere. None of the prophets said that was going to happen. Nobody. Nowhere. So therefore, it still exists. It still exists. The unclean animals eat other dead animals. They are unclean because they're scavengers. And they were never intended for us to eat, because all of those animals that are unclean eats other unclean dead animals. That's what they eat. You can't do it. Can't do it. No way, no way. No way, no how can you do it. And they're not going to find anything written to substantiate that theory. Nothing. The other thing is this. I'm talking about another passage that they're going to bring out when it comes to eating. Let no man judge you in meat, drink, or in respect of a holy day. Colossians 2:18, 17 and 18, or 16, 17. As I showed before, he's talking to the children of Israel. He's not talking to nobody else. He's talking to the children of Israel. He's talking to the people of God. He's talking not only to the children of Israel, he's also talking to the Gentile converts who have become saints. That's who he's talking to. Colossians 1:1. He tells you right away who he's talking to. Because once you are converted, you become a part of the family. So to say that he never ever dealt with Gentiles is not true. Because that's why in Isaiah 56, let not the son of the stranger say that the Lord has utterly separated me from my people. What do you mean he never dealt with Gentiles? They never accepted Gentiles. Of course they've accepted Gentiles because they're supposed to be the light to the other nations. What he simply told them is that when you receive them, the same law that's for you is the same law for them. So that's nothing new. What he was told in Matthew the 10th chapter, go after the lost sheep of the house of Israel first. Don't go to the Greeks, don't go to the Samaritans, only go after the lost sheep of the house of Israel first. Why? Because he was trying to show them that the Messiah is here. The Son of Man is here. He had to draw as much attention to himself. So therefore, when he was killed, buried, and resurrected, here's what happened. They realized in Acts the 2nd chapter that they killed the Messiah. Now that you get it, you can go teach the other nations. Because that's what Israel is supposed to do. Teach the other nations. Here's a question. Cornelius being a Gentile. Who directed Abraham? Angel of the Lord. Who directed Moses? Angel of the Lord. So we have occasions. Who spoke to Joshua when Joshua was discouraged? Angel of the Lord. So now we have the angel of the Lord teaching the men of God, showing them what to do, step by step. I want you to check this out, what I'm saying. Step by step. Who dealt with Noah? Angel of the Lord. Who told Noah to build the ark? Angel of the Lord. Gave him specific instructions. Angel of the Lord did. Who told Lot to get out of Sodom and Gomorrah? Angels of the Lord. Angels of the Lord. There was two of them that went over there. I'm going someplace with this. When Cornelius now, who's not a Hebrew, because everybody I named to you was a Hebrew. Everybody I named to you was a Hebrew. Why is it when Cornelius, who's been a devout man, who is seeking the Most High, seeking him, he's praying. And why, number one, why is this Gentile, why is this Italian soldier doing that? Because everybody heard. Everybody heard. It's gone out. Some of those soldiers, they were there. They were there when they was put asleep. They were there, and the scribes and the Pharisees, before they realized who it was, they said, listen, you all better say his body was stolen, and we'll protect you against Caesar. So you tell people that you fell asleep, and we'll protect you. We'll go tell Caesar that it's okay, they fell asleep, don't worry about it. But what you cannot do, you cannot tell them. And they paid them money. Scripture says they paid them. Why did they pay them? Because they knew something miraculous happened that night. And those were Roman soldiers. So the word went out all through their families, all through the military. Man, let me tell you what happened to us. So Cornelius now is seeking the Lord. He's praying and he's being devout. He don't know who this God is, but he knows this is the real deal here. This is the God I'm going to pray to. Why didn't, here's my question. I asked all of those questions, and this is how I deal with people. Who was it that dealt with Abraham? Name all of those guys. Name every last one of them. Go back into the scriptures. Start with Noah. Start with Noah. And say, who dealt with Noah? Who dealt with Abraham? Who was it that dealt with Isaac? Who dealt with Jacob? Who was it? Who dealt with Moses? And they're all going to say the angel of the Lord, angel of the Lord. Why? Then ask the question why. And they're going to say that's how the Lord does. That's what he does. And did he teach them anything? Did he show them anything? Of course he did. He gave them a word. Every angel of the Lord that dealt with those Hebrew men, they gave them a word. Every angel of the Lord that dealt with the prophets, he gave them a word. Every last angel of the Lord. Who was it that came to Daniel when he was praying for interpretation of the dream? Angel of the Lord. What did the angel of the Lord? Gave him understanding. That's what he did. He gave them understanding. When Belshazzar, he said, go down and get one of those Hebrews. Who gave him understanding? The angel of the Lord gave it to Daniel, who gave it to the Babylonian king. When Joseph was in prison and the Pharaoh had a dream, who did they have to go get? A Hebrew who prayed, and the angel of the Lord gave him the interpretation of the dream. Correct, brother JD. The angel of the Lord that dealt with Daniel was Gabriel. When Mary and Joseph didn't have understanding, as Hebrew descendants, who gave them understanding? The angel of the Lord. That's history. That's a pattern. But I got one question. Why is it that the angel of the Lord told the brother Cornelius, the Lord has heard your dream. Go down and talk to Peter. Go down and talk to Peter. We got a few minutes. Let's go look at that real quick. I want to show that to you. I want to show that to you in the book of Acts. That's important. What did he tell him? I want you to go over there and talk to this guy. Listen to this. There was a man named Caesar called, a man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house. Brothers and sisters, Cornelius was a Gentile, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. He saw in a vision about the 9th hour of the day an angel of God coming to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid, and he said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thy alms are come up for a memorial before God. In other words, God is hearing your prayer. Listen to this. Now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. Listen to this. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. And the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed. He called his 2 household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. Now this is important, brothers and sisters. Here's why it's important. Did you not know that the angel of the Lord gave everybody and taught everybody and gave them something except for Cornelius? He told him, you go talk to Peter. He'll tell you what you ought to do. That's in verse number 6. And that is key. Well, let me just say this. I enjoyed you all tonight. I did. I enjoyed you tonight. Brother JD says good night. Brother Roderick says good night. I'm off tomorrow. That's why I'm chilling. All of y'all that's in the chat room tonight, hit the like button. And I want to say good night to all of you all. I'm here. And here is our contact information. There we go right there. If you'd like to give to Bethel, help us, what we do, what we shared with you tonight, you can do it right there. Cash App, Bethel House of God. If you want to help directly with the social media ministry, you can do that right there by going to patreon.com/Pastor Johnson. That's our email and that's our contact phone number. You can do that anytime. So I want to say thank you for what you do. And we're going to play two of my... I know the other night, man, we went crazy with that playlist. I'm not going to go crazy tonight with the playlist tonight. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to play 4 songs. 2 from the Israel of God and 2, you know what? I'm going to play 1 from the Israel of God and 1 from, let me see who we can play. While I'm looking for that, y'all stand by 1 second.
Love, as I have loved you. What is that?
No, we're not getting ready to do that. I think I'm going to play 3 Before Joy. 3 Before Joy, and then we're going to also play the Israel of God Choir in Riverdale, and we're going to call it a night. That's what we're going to do. So I got that all lined up, and that's how we're going to end tonight. That's how we're going to end tonight. It's tired. We do have Bible study tomorrow night. We're going to be playing, I don't know what the lesson is going to be tomorrow night. I think I do. I'm not really for sure because there's 2 things I wanted to touch on. But I will say, if there is a lesson that you wanted me to ever bring up, you can send me the information. Send me the information. There's an email address. And put it in the email address right there. Right there. If there's ever a lesson that you want me to teach, I'm not going to be teaching on the feast days for a while because our next one won't be coming up for a while. So, but if there's a lesson you want me to bring up or teach on, go there and put it there in that email address. I would do it. Other than that, I'm out of here. We thank all of you all for tuning in tonight. Here's 3 Before Joy and the Israel of God Choir, and we will talk soon.
You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. But you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it all right here. My hands are raised because I surrender. Your will is what's best for me. I worship you because you're Jehovah Jireh, I bow before the King of Kings. No more crying, no more complaining. I believe your word is true. Lord, you promised never to leave me lonely. So this is what I'm going to do. I will trust in you, Lord. I will trust in you, Lord. I will put my trust in you. I will trust in you, Lord. I will trust in you, Lord. I will put my trust in you. Did not create me to worry.
Mommy, the pizza done. It's warm up, Mommy.
How much you mean to me, because I was once blind, but now I see that you paid it all when you hung upon a tree. You're my king, even my high priest. Lord, you're the only one who can intercede for me, to take my prayer before the Father when I fall down on my knees. You know my prayer even before I speak. You're my king, even my high priest. I have found you. Now all of that has changed. You gave me your word, and your word, it brought me peace. You're my king, Lord, you're my high priest. Create in me a clean heart, and renew a right spirit. that I see. You're my creating me a clean heart and renew the right spirit in me. Oh, Lord, you're my high priest. Oh, Lord, I in time of need. Save me, oh God, my own ways. Save me from my own ways. Spare me, oh Lord, to live long. The days that I see. You're my high priest. Create a clean heart. Renew a right spirit in me. You're my high priest. Oh Lord, I call on thee in time of need. Save me, oh God, from my own